The JobKeeper payment of $1,500 earnings before tax per fortnight is paid to the employer as a supplement to assist with the payment of salary and wages, and this will be paid in arrears commencing from May 2020 for a maximum of 6 months, with payments backdated from the 30th of March 2020. Before we start to look at how to implement some JobKeeper scenarios within the system, I'll go through a few key dates with you. By the 30th of April, you must notify your employees and receive completed employee nomination forms. Before you enrol to receive JobKeeper payments, you need to notify each eligible employee that you intend to nominate them as eligible employees under the JobKeeper payment scheme. You must tell those employees that you have nominated them as an eligible employee to claim the JobKeeper payment. They must agree to be nominated by you by completing the JobKeeper employee nomination notice and returning it to you for your records. From the 20th of April, you can enrol for JobKeeper payment. This can be done via the ATO Business Portal, online services for agents, online services for individuals. By the 30th of April, you must enrol and pay your employees to claim JobKeeper payments for April. You must enrol before the 30th of April to claim JobKeeper payments for the period of April. You can only claim JobKeeper payment for eligible employees if you pay the $1,500 per fortnight before tax to each eligible employee. If your employees receive the JobKeeper payment, this may affect their eligibility for payments from Services Australia, as they must report their JobKeeper payment as income. From the 4th of May and onwards, you need to submit monthly declarations and notify the ATO of your turnover. This means each month you must reconfirm the eligibility of your business and your reported eligible employees. You must also provide information as to your current and projected GST turnover. This is not a retest of your eligibility, but rather it's an indication of how your business is progressing under the JobKeeper payment scheme. You or your registered tax or BAS agent can make the monthly business declaration. On a monthly basis, you must ensure that you have paid your eligible employees at least $1,500 per employee per fortnight. And lastly, the 31st of May is the last day to declare the monthly declaration to the ATO in order to be reimbursed JobKeeper payments made in April. If we move on to the JobKeeper process now, we have significantly simplified the process by removing the need for users to manually create JobKeeper-related pay categories, and we've improved the way JobKeeper is processed in the pay run and subsequently reported via STP. We've added a new pay run action, which is called Add JobKeeper Payment, that allows you to perform any of the 3 JobKeeper options available via a context panel. I'll show you the panel here now. Here it is here. Once you click on that, you'll see 3 JobKeeper options. These are the JobKeeper Top-Up, JobKeeper Start, and JobKeeper Finish. The system then creates the relevant JobKeeper pay categories based on the actions performed. This ensures that the pay category settings are configured in accordance with the ATO's requirements. The ATO have prescribed specific naming conventions to identify JobKeeper payments being reported through STP, and it's essential to honour these conventions, otherwise reimbursement by the ATO can be heavily delayed or not paid at all. To access the JobKeeper payment functionality, you must be in a pay run, and as I've shown you, you just need to click on the employee's name within the pay run, then the Actions button, and the JobKeeper payment is shown here. To tell you a little bit about each option, the top-up payment category is used to top up an employee's pay. This is used where their original earnings are less than $1,500 per fortnight. The JobKeeper start payment lets you record the start fortnight the JobKeeper payment is commencing for each affected employee. This must be reported for each individual employee and only needs to be reported once. The third option, JobKeeper Finish, allows you to record the finish fortnight the JobKeeper payment is ceasing for each affected employee. This only needs to be reported if an employee ceases to be eligible for the JobKeeper payment prior to the 27th of September. In this video, we're going to go over 3 different JobKeeper scenarios. Scenario A will be eligible employees' earnings are more than $1,500 per fortnight before tax. Scenario B, eligible employee earnings are less than $1,500 per fortnight before tax. Scenario C, eligible employees are not working due to stand down period. So if we look at scenario A, which is an eligible employee earnings are more than $1,500 per fortnight before tax, this means you just need to continue to pay the employee all the earnings and include all the entitlements to leave accrual and superannuation as you normally would. The JobKeeper payment will be a supplement for the employer and there will be no change required in the pay run. For this scenario, you'll just need to notify the ATO from which fortnight the subsidy is to be reimbursed to the employer for the eligible employee. To do this, you would select the Actions, JobKeeper Payment, and from there we would select the JobKeeper Start. And we can click Finished on here. In this scenario, the system does not report $0 earnings to the ATO, so you will notice that an earnings line of 1 cent has been added. Remember that you only need to notify the ATO of the start fortnight once for each eligible employee. And you'll notice for this employee, the first earnings line is his usual fortnightly payment, which is above the $1,500 threshold. That's why we've only got the one other earnings here, which is letting us know the start fortnight. We'll go ahead and save these details before we move on to the next scenario. We're going to use this employee here for scenario B. Scenario B is where an eligible employee earnings are less than $1,500 per fortnight before tax. You'll notice this employee's earnings are only $829.20 before tax. In this scenario, we still need to continue to pay the employee all the earnings and include all the entitlements to leave accrual and super as we normally would. In this case though, we need to add the additional earnings line for the top-up amount, which totals the difference between the JobKeeper payment and the employee's gross earnings. In order to do this, we'll click the Actions, Add JobKeeper Payment. We're going to select the top-up pay category in this case. Now the difference for this employee is $670.80. And this difference between the JobKeeper payment and the employee's gross earnings is known as the top-up payment. With this scenario, you also need to notify the ATO which fortnight you commenced paying the employee the JobKeeper payment. As such, as per scenario A, you need to add an earnings line in the pay run using the relevant start fortnight pay category, and we have made this easier by allowing you to add another payment from the JobKeeper payment box. So all you need to do here is click the Add Another Option button, and from there select JobKeeper Start. Here's our 2 pay categories that we need included for this employee. Click Finished, and here we'll see the details that we need. Here's the top-up earnings line, and here's the start earnings line with the 1 cent in order to report it correctly for STP. Now if we click the Save button, we scroll up, we'll see the $1,500 before tax payment, which is what we're expecting to see. Okay, so the last scenario, scenario C, is when an eligible employee is not working due to a stand down period. This means if during a stand down period, the employee is eligible for the JobKeeper payment, the employee will be entitled to the full JobKeeper payment amount of $1,500 per fortnight, as they're not being paid during stand down. For further information on managing a stand down in the pay run, you can view our support article, which is called Managing the Stand Down of Employees in the Pay Run. Looks like this. If you go onto our support website, if you type in JobKeeper, we actually have 4 different articles that provide more information about the process for you. The stand down process involves creating a stand down pay category that accrues leave, but it has no pay rate attached to it and doesn't accrue super, obviously. They're not getting paid. The point being that employees are not getting paid, but they are still entitled to accrue leave. Once you've created your stand down pay category, you can then apply this pay category to the pay run. In this case, we're going to use Rosie Clark. We're going to select the Actions button, Add Earnings, because we need to apply the stand down pay category that we've created earlier. Okay, so you'll notice here, there's no rate for the stand down pay category, and she usually works 60 hours a fortnight. So we'll save this. And as you can see, the leave being accrued is based on 60 hours worked, even though she's not getting paid anything for it. So once we have that stand down pay category in the pay run, in regards to the job seeker payment, we need to use the JobKeeper top up pay category for this. Again, Actions, Add JobKeeper payment, JobKeeper top up. In this case, we need to top up the full $1,500 for the employee. And like scenario B, we also need to advise of the JobKeeper start fortnight. So we'll add that there and then select Finished. Once those 2 lines are in there, once we click the Save button, you'll see the details there. Note that the earnings details will still accrue leave from the stand down pay category. However, the payment will not attract superannuation. With the JobKeeper Start pay category, remember you only need to notify the ATO of the start fortnight once for each eligible employee. Hopefully this video has helped explain the process for various scenarios in relation to JobKeeper payments. The team has worked extremely hard to make this process as painless as possible, and we will continue to provide updates as needed. Thank you.